Welcome to Mandorla. We humbly invite you on a journey with us as we explore and deep dive in what it means to be human through this great time of awakening, generously sharing wisdom and practical tools that have helped us on our path of ascension, introducing other conscious leaders within our community to expand the collective mind to new possibilities.
Mandorla inspires us to become balanced in body and soul, feminine and masculine, physical and spiritual, creating a bridge between heaven and earth. Within this podcast, we will be communicating with all parts of ourselves, understanding our true essence, discovering our life's calling, transforming and healing ourselves and the people around us. Without further ado, let us begin. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mandorla. I'm Katrina, this is Katrina, and together we are K and K Illuminating Light. We are fresh and it's been a little while since we have recorded because we have been away in Bali. Yeah, so we are literally coming back new people, speaking to you. We have learnt a lot, we've experienced a lot, and I am really happy and excited to introduce the topic today of abundance because we definitely got to experience abundance in every level, at every level when we were in Bali. And I think that we learnt some things, anchored some things, embodied some things, and brought them back to share with you guys, as well as learn a little bit more on the topic.
Yeah, actually just now dropping in was one of the awarenesses that I had over there, which wasn't the direction I thought we were going, but I'm going to fully trust. We were having massages daily because over there, the price of which you can do that. And so we were absolutely indulging in the most beautiful way. But we got to day, I think, five nights, and I ended up having my last massage at that point because I kept getting, this is now overindulging. So it was like a greed. And I think that this ties in with abundance of like not overtaking or putting all of your efforts into one area of receiving, but actually Bali had so much more to offer us, and I was spending all my energy in particular areas. And so I was like, oh. And I remember saying to you, don't judge me if I go back for another massage because they're really good. But I am getting that my body's like, okay, cool, you've really indulged in that, but there's more that this island has to offer you.
Yeah, I remember it being feeling very, very important to me for every encounter to be a balanced contribution. So even though we were paying them for a massage, so the physicality was we were paying and they were giving us a massage, but there was so much more to that. And the culture of Bali, when we were first introduced from the first driver, right, he said, we asked him what he loved about Bali, and he said it was his culture, and it was that they had a lot of respect for each other. They helped each other organically. And what was the third one?
Practice gratitude.
Practice gratitude, of course. And literally every Balinese person lived and breathed it. It was in who they were. So what I noticed is that we had 6 girls with us. And this was a really proud moment for me, actually, because I'm quite the observer. I observe many people, everyone really. But I loved that all 6 of us are fully ingrained in that mentality or in those qualities as well, because everywhere I was with anyone, there was the uttermost depth of gratitude coming from us to us. So it was very equal exchange of gratitude. They felt so grateful for us giving them business, but it was such a deep connection of gratitude for who each other were and what we provided that it was the most beautiful thing. And it was such a proud moment to be in such a beautiful friendship group where we all have those qualities and all have those values. And literally our our holiday just kept getting better and better and more abundant and more blessings. And literally, if we couldn't think we were any more grateful or appreciative, and then something else would happen that would blow our mind. And I really believe that gratitude and those values breed more blessings and more things to be, more abundance, more things to be grateful for, right?
Absolutely. And I think that it also helps you to understand that abundance is just not financial. It's just not wealth. It's this and that. But when you are in a state of gratitude for the driver that you may be paying only $3 to, but the exchange of what you give them back, when you are like boasting with like, thank you so much, have a wonderful day, and being in that vibration, because that brings us to like being who we are. And that every single one of us, we are that. We are someone who absolutely has complete gratitude for, if we're having a $100 experience or a $3 car ride, we are grateful for the exchange in which that we've got. And I think that that is the first pillar of achieving abundance in your life, is realizing it's not this or that, and it doesn't look one way or the other. It's in so many different areas. And so, I feel like that was something that all of us had anchored prior to going there. And like you said, in each moment, in each day, and this is I believe as well, that our hearts are a magnet for everything that we desire. And I think that when you're in a deep state of gratitude, you are in your heart, which is going to attract more of that. So, for anyone who's looking to expand to more abundance, it starts with coming into deep gratitude for everything that you have in your life right now, to the same degree if it were wealth. Like the neutral balance between feeling the same about how abundance comes in all areas of life, not just I'm excited when I get on payday, like, and people are like, oh, I'm so grateful, like now I can get the thing, but actually being super grateful when it's not payday as well. And finding what you can be grateful for in those moments outside of that, because maintaining that vibration is being in the heart, and it allows more and more to come to you.
And not so much being grateful for the outside, like let's take it to a new depth of like, what are we grateful for about ourselves? And this is again what we learned in Bali, is that I got to be so present with myself and who I am. And it is a lot easier just saying, when you're taken away from all of the normal day-to-day responsibilities, right? It was a privilege. It was a gift for me. That is probably the first time in my whole life that I've actually been so removed from those responsibilities. But I got to be present with who I really am. And I got to experience different elements and parts of myself that I felt like I had lost, or I lost connection with, or that haven't felt safe enough for a long time to be. And I got to love those parts of myself and sort of anchor them in, and then witness like the ripple effect of what that contributes to other people. And not only with myself, but I got with every single other girl that was a woman that was there. There was 5 other women that I could see and get to experience the different elements of each personality and each contribution. Completely different. Same values, same values, same morals, same principles, different aspects of personalities that had a different co-creation and different contribution. Beautiful. Like absolutely amazing. Like we were really solid with okay, it's all about holidays. So in each moment, what do you want to do and what do you want to do? And we're responsible for whatever we want to do for the day, right? Sometimes we would branch off. We didn't stay together the whole time. But we got to experience what it looked like for 6 different women to have a canvas of their own to create with. And what that looked like for all of us was completely different, because we're not the same people. But it was abundant in each 6 women had this abundant experience because we are the creators of our own reality, right? And we got to create that absolutely differently.
One of the things, and I'm sure I've mentioned it on this podcast before, is for me, the vision behind creating a trip in Bali with 6 women and the intention that was set was for everybody to go over and to actually be an embodiment of themselves and to give themselves full permissions, because we're outside of our family homes, outside of our responsibilities, our children, and that not to think that you have to do something because somebody else is doing it. But even deeper, that I know that in my reality, every person is a character of mine. And so talk about abundance, what I was able to receive through witnessing, and this alone in my heart would have been enough without any experiences in Bali, because it truly meant the most to me to be able to witness all of my closest friends in their absolute empowerment to make those decisions and create a holiday to be exactly what they want and then some. Mm-hmm. And that was, for me, that and the connections that I got to witness were more than any money that I spent in Bali. Like, to be able to just have that was huge for me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Thank you, because check.
Yeah.
All of the above was absolutely manifested in the most beautiful, divine way. So, yeah, loved that co-creation. But what I know also in the aspect of doing the work, is what we would call when we were there, is that we got to experience a new level of what that can look like. So 6 women over 10 days. That is not to say that wobbles didn't come up. And when I say wobbles, like, we might have had a phone call home or something, or like a clash of whatever, something triggered us, or a driver or whatever. Wobbles came up for all of us at some point. Yeah. Sometimes we don't even have to know why, but that was the perfect teaching, right? Mm-hmm. We would have our stuff come up, and each person was so self-responsible that we allowed it. It was a safe place. We allowed it to be for each person. How they navigated that was different, but it was so beautifully orchestrated that what we witnessed is that, given a safe space to just be in the emotion, whether we wanted to lean in for support or not, it was irrelevant. It transmuted so quickly that literally one thing that I'm really proud of as a single person is no one sold you. No one did anything out of obligation or suppressed anything. We were just where we were at 100% of the time, 6 women. And that gave the opportunity to, it's like a bobbing, say abundance is the surface of the water of the ocean, right? And these little things would come and it would just pull us down in our density just a little bit. And when we surrendered to it, it was like a big beach ball, right? And it would just pop back up to that surface where we could create or receive that abundance again. But when we try to suppress it and keep it down, right, we're trying to put all these weights and we don't want anyone to see, we can't pop up to the abundance that is our God-given right, because we are suppressing and we're holding this. It's taking a lot of energy to do that, right? And so what I was so blown away with how effortless it can be to surrender to it in a safe place, because we were all going through things. We all had stuff going on at home. We surrendered to it, came back, each moment by moment got to reset and create more and more possibilities of what was to make our trip the most epic trip ever.
And like you were saying, like, the quicker you allow yourself to do it and that you surrender to it, the quicker it moves. One of the days we were in between and we were moving, and everything was just feeling like a lot, like having to schedule what time we had to be there, and then we'd get stuck in traffic, and I was feeling bad for the people at the accommodation, and things were coming up for me to look at. And in the car I said, hey, when I get to the next location, I'm just going to need a minute. And I literally walked into the room of which I was sharing with another friend of mine, and she went to come in. I'm like, I need just 5 minutes. And I shut the door, and literally 2 minutes later, I was like, oh, I feel good now.
Don't even need 5.
I don't even need 5. I did it in 2.
Like
it happened that quickly because I allowed myself the permission and voiced, hey, I just going to need a minute. I just needed to bring my energy back to me because I was realizing that I was holding responsibility for, everyone's happiness, I guess, like the people that were waiting for us at the villa to show us around. And I was like, hang on.
Responsibility, right?
Responsibility. Yeah. And I was like, hang on a minute. This is not allowing me to be me because my energy's out there. And literally 2 minutes later, I was like, oh, back to me. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at this place. And then I'm walking around and got jumping in the pool. Like it literally shifted that quickly. And I think that it's so beautiful to have friendships where there is safety in that. Nobody made it mean anything about them or that what did they do? Like none of that occurred. I walked out and everyone was just like, you're back. It was so perfect because when you're around women who are so self-accountable, if they did have something come up with me needing to take time, I know they're going to work that out. It's not my responsibility. Yeah. And so, that was really, really cool.
Yeah. And so, I guess what we can just get clarity on is that when we feel responsibility mounting up on us, whether it's an organization or whether it's responsible for someone else, I think what I've observed is that that's when we show up not being ourselves, right? And so this is a really this is an invitation to get clear on, if you feel like you're not being yourself, is it a responsible thing? Is it a responsibility thing? Do I need to let go of something that is not actually mine? We all have responsibilities, but it needs to always be for self. And we have a responsibility to our children, but our responsibility is actually to teach them to be that for themselves too. Responsible for themselves emotionally, physically. That's our role, is to actually teach them self-responsibility. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I think that something that I'm getting really solid with, and I truly believe, is it's not so much of I'm going to communicate this is what you have to do. It's by being that myself so that they learn it through my own actions, because I could tell my kids a million times to do the dishwasher because, if we don't put it on at night, it bring cockies or whatever. But by me being the example and doing it and keeping my house tidy every day and every night, putting that dishwasher on, it's the example of, so that when they move out, they may not do it one night. It may attract cockies and they've seen the example. Yeah. I could tell them till I'm black and blue so many things, but I think that me being me is that example. And I think we all were an embodiment of that also in Bali, which allowed us to experience everything that we were able to experience.
So that's the physical aspect of it. And then it's the emotional example as well. I've been going through a lot lately. My kids have been witnessing that. They're also going through a lot lately. But to see an example of mum being really, it's not to hide it. I'm absolutely not hiding where I am or what I'm going through, but I know that they don't feel responsible because I communicate really well. Hey, I am wobbling right now, but I'm going to be okay. And I'll communicate if I'm taking space. I don't just hide away. Communication is the key for this. They also know when they're in something, I'll communicate, you don't need fixing, babe. You're totally fine. This is a normal emotion. Just let yourself feel it. What do you need to do? What do you need to do for yourself? Would a hug help? All these things, right? So it's me being it. It's guiding them through it also. That's the emotional self-responsibility. So we can sit with it and then bob right back up to the surface again quicker than if we're unwilling to look at it or what have you. So this is where day-to-day life, we've witnessed what it was like to be in Bali and transmute all that stuff so quickly. Now it's integrating that at home, right? Where it can get a little bit denser. We're not on holidays anymore. There's those things. But what we do know is that we experienced such abundance in utilizing these things that we learned that literally the bar is set now. We want this to be day-to-day
We know
life.
what's possible.
We know
right?
what is possible. Yeah. So when I say abundance, what do you know about abundance? How could you describe abundance to everybody? Because that looks different for everyone.
It absolutely does. And the month of October, and we're nearing the end of it now, has shown me that it is so much less about wealth than it is connections. If you have people that you are connected to, bringing that back again, when you have connection to self, and then as a ripple effect, you have incredible connections outside of you, that is enough to fill one person's heart for a lifetime. And I've been so incredibly blessed to be able to receive in such a absolute deep way within my birth family, my immediate family, and now in my friendships, to receive that level of connection. And that for me is enough abundance to feed me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That's success.
Yeah.
That's like it for me. Success is not just financial. It's that and this. But for me, what actually matters most to my heart and what lights me up, that what makes me wake up with absolute joy every day, is being able to have deep connections like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Allowing me to be all of me.
Yeah. Because really, at the foundation, humans are quite simple, right? There's not actually that much that fulfills our soul. Like, it's simple, it's love, it's connection. So at the basis, this is what anyone can provide for themselves in any moment. So what I know when I think back to, like, I'm already planning my next Bali trip, right? And what I take away is the fact that we now have connections there. We have connections with drivers. We have connections with hosts. We have that is the treasure to me, because we already have relationships that are formed, and they were formed almost instantly because of the authenticity of us being who we are, right? We found like a remembrance in certain people, and that is so. Not for 1 second am I thinking about money when I think about planning another trip. I'm thinking about, I get to see those people again, or that will help their families, or this, we could stay there, and they have amazing connections to drivers, and all of the same, like, we're actually, whether we went to Bali with full bank accounts or not, what I know about us 6 ladies is that we would have had the most abundant holiday whether our bank accounts were full or not.
100%.
Yeah. Because we would have, in moment by moment, connected with what was important. And so, it was massages every day for a while, but I was the same as you. I was like, I actually have bruises, no more massages. What else does Bali? But that was like an experience for me. That was what my heart desired for that moment. And then it changes. It's not about how much things cost. It's about who are you? What are you aligned to? What brings you creativity and joy? And then making that happen. Because we are all masculine and feminine, right? Our masculines are very, very good at making things happen when our feminine is on point of what is aligned.
Yeah.
The feminine goes, this is aligned with my heart. This is what's important to me. Masculine goes, done.
Yeah.
We can make that happen. No worries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the vision. I was like, don't know if everyone's going to say yes, but I have this vision to go away. And my masculine's like, send the message out. Say it's important. Like, get the women there.
Make
because
it physical.
For my heart, it was so that I could have that deeper connection, so that we could be removed, so that we could become, or at least gain the wisdom of what's possible, so that we could bring that back into our homes and go, this is just of course now.
Yeah.
And that was like right before we left, there were certain languages that kept coming up, and I was like, of course I go on a yacht all the time now. Like, that's just my normal now.
Yeah.
To be able to indulge in that if I wish to, whereas before that was a far-fetched dream, to be able to make a phone call and go on a yacht and it be abundantly provided for me. And so I feel like that, and then in 6 people now saying, of course, it just feels so exciting. It's exciting for me to witness that abundance in others, and that permission slip and that belief. It's the belief actually that it is absolutely possible to say yes to yourself. If your feminine and heart is desiring it and you're seeing that vision and going, this is where my body wants to get to, the masculine stepping in and supporting that.
I actually think the most challenging part is actually getting solid with our worthiness and deserving that
Belief,
can be our life.
Yeah.
Because it certainly brought up things for me like, who am I to leave my family for that long? Who am I to just be like, this is all about me? Like, and hand things that I have carried all the balls for so long and hand them over to other people. But we did prep for that, right? Like we did prep emotionally, like it for the people that we love, for ourselves. Like that's the masculine going, okay, cool. If you want this, then this is what's important to you. Line all of your ducks up in a row. And man, it did not look how I thought it was going to look. I got thrown some curveballs, but I made it there at the end. And that utter trust that, okay, this is where life is taking me. As long as I stay so true to who I am, to my values, to what's important to me, to my heart, I'm just going to trust the journey. I'm going to keep bobbing, and I might be under the surface for a little bit longer sometimes, but I know that I'm going to bob to the surface of the water, and everything is going to be abundantly blessed for my life and everything and everyone that I love.
So I've got this new thing at the moment where I can hear the collective coming in, and so I can feel a resistance of our viewers right now that are going, but like I give this to myself, but my mother-in-law will project on me, or my family will think that I'm, abandoning them, or like, so I'm hearing the collective chatter around this, and what I want to say towards that is, and because this for me is how I gain empowerment in being able to make the decisions that I make for myself around these. If you have projection outside of you, if you have anybody telling you stories of what is in the way of you choosing that for yourself, they are only reflecting your own belief system or your own conditioning or your own patterns. And so to speak into the resistance that I am hearing right now, that's what you want to look at, so that when you do make decisions for yourself, whether it be a holiday or whether it be starting a new business or whether it be getting a new car or whatever it is, if there's resistance around you and people outside of you, have a look at where is that in me.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it is actually societal conditioning.
Yeah,
a lot. Yeah, like, yes, it can be individual, but majority of individual comes from society conditioning. So what I actually encourage people to be like is like, okay, well, question everything. Why do I feel like it's wrong that I go on holidays just because other people don't do it?
Yeah.
Because that, if you actually reflect, so many is because, who am I to have that when they don't? They don't. Really, who's going to break out of this? One person has to break out of this to go, oh, that's possible. Actually, I deserve that too. Like, be brave and reflect, because what I know, and this is where being a parent is such a blessing, like such a blessing. And it is absolutely my true north all the time, because what I want and yearn for my kids, it takes me a little while, but then I look in the mirror and go, I want that for me too. So if I'm going, kick goals, man, like the sky's the limit, and then it's not even the limit. Like if I'm telling them that, I need to be telling myself that too. And so what you said before about being the example even more than saying it.
Yeah.
Like I'm at that crossroads with my kids right now. I'm going, oh my goodness. Like my son's about to turn 14 and my daughter's 17. I'm like, go and travel the world. Go out on, like my daughter loves the marine world. I'm like, why are you not out on the boats every single day? Like I'm telling her that. But I can see that she is coming up against that societal conditioning, but no one else is doing that, Mum.
Yeah.
other people are doing this, Mum. And I'm like, don't worry about other people. Like, you have it all. But if I'm not doing that, then someone has to lead the way. There has to be some leaders in the course here to go, this is what's possible. This is what love looks like. This is what true love looks like for ourselves. Because sometimes it's easier for us to love other people more than ourselves. But I think if we actually reversed that, loved ourselves more, then, oh my gosh, what that would create for the people that we love.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I said to my husband when I got back was, how bloody epic is this that our children are seeing that mum can go on a holiday and dad's just got it. And that mum is choosing herself enough to go on a holiday. And then them witnessing the effect of a mum who's just had a holiday and I'm coming back feeling so light and so fulfilled. I want that for my children. I want them to be fulfilled in every area of their life. So yes.
And then seeing dad go, hey, Mum, that was a cool holiday. I want that for me.
That. Yeah.
And then dad goes and does
it
too. Because it's this is not tit for tat. This is like everyone's God-given right. But are we willing to actually make these aspirations happen? That's what I'm really proud of us for doing. We chose ourselves even though we had all of the resistance from every way, shape or form. We still chose ourselves and made that happen. And now we're like, ooh, what is next?
Yeah.
What is next? And I'm already having so much feedback of how inspiring that is for other people that also want that for themselves. Yeah. Maybe they would never have done it before, but now they're like, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I friggin' love that. And, you know, something that's played out with my husband and I, because this is not my first rodeo. I have been choosing myself and going on holidays, solo holidays without my family, and then family holidays as well for quite some time now. And so I've been working on the resistance of that for quite some time now. And it doesn't matter how many times I've booked holidays for my husband, because I want him to experience that himself. We're at a point now where he needs to choose that for himself, because actually I could continue to book him holidays, but he has to find his own deservability, his own worth, and his own inspiration from it occurring for me. And I can't do that anymore for him. And this is like, it leads it back to, you have to believe that you deserve that yourself.
Yeah.
And that is the only area you can do that. You can't do that for your children. You can't do that for your husband. You can't do that for the world. You can only do it for self. And so I have to keep walking in that walk for me. But what I do know the difference to be is, my husband back in the day used to be like, oh, I don't know if we can go like on that holiday, to now he gets fully excited when I book family holidays. And, you know, when I say that I'm going on a solo holiday, it used to ruffle him, like, how am I going to do all the things? Like, and now he's like, yeah, I got you. So through the progress of me continuing to go, no, this is my truth and this is important to me. And I know that this holiday is so much more than just me going on a holiday. It's an example for everybody in my life when I do that. And the outcome of what that gifts everybody from me doing that, as well as everything that I abundantly receive by doing that as well. Each time, and if I'm using everybody in my reality as like a character, I'm clearing the conditioning with everybody around me at each time I do it.
Yeah.
But it first comes from, no, I deserve this. This is important and I love myself enough to choose this.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
What you and I both really know with all of our hearts is that abundance comes to everyone who is aligned with their values, right? So we did have one of the girls that was a little bit wobbly before we went with money, going, I just don't know if I can afford this, right? Yeah. And it would have been perfect. It brought all the things up. Yeah. And hand on my heart, I said, this is what I know. Because we've had the same stories in business, right? Like, we went to the Cape York for a month. And my husband was like, I just don't know how we're going. Like, who's going to keep the business running? He had all the wobbles in the world. But that family time was important. And that break, he needed the break, right? So to balance everything out, I knew it was going to be okay. We just needed to get on the road. Every single time, a abundance flows financially into the business when we even that out, when we just surrender to what's important, those connections, that presence, all the things. So I told her that with my hand on my heart, with the complete knowing that if she chose herself, that would be the case. And was it the case? She was probably almost the most abundant person there.
Yes.
She had streams of business coming in while we were over there.
And payments, not just like bookings for future clients. It was like payment
pretty
up
sure
front.
She had over $4,000 come into her business while we were there.
On the last day, she had 3 more people book in.
Literally.
More.
And I'm like, girl, I'm not a told you so person, but I'm kind of telling you so right now, because she was, and it was because she gifted herself that. She gave herself the permission to let everything go, be fully aligned to who she was in those moments. She was with people that were important to her. Her values were everything was aligned, and her business was booming.
And she allowed herself to feel the density of why she couldn't go first, so that she could vibrationally bob back up to the surface and go, no, actually, this is important. I'm going to choose me. And it is a choice.
Yeah.
And I really feel like to direct the conversation now too, because speaking on behalf of like your husband, I know that it is a core value for him to spend time with family. And so what I do believe to be true is that when we are being who we are and putting our values in the right place, that is also what is the magnet for abundance to flow through to you. So your husband's gone away on a Cape trip, and then all of a sudden all this business came pouring in. But had he been sitting at home in his workshop and not spending time with the family and not allowing himself to bob up to the higher vibration because he's in alignment with his values, then it gets blocked. And so what I know about myself is that I do a lot of spiritual work when I go to these countries, and it's very much like in the unseen, but it's a part of who I am. And not everybody has that way of living life. But for me,
that's the difference of contribution, right?
That's right. And so I know that one of my highest values is travel. I used to think it was just travel, but now I understand it's because I'm actually doing work in that part of the planet. And so when I give myself full permission to go, hey, I know it looks like to society that I'm just going on a holiday, but for me, this is one of like my big values, is to travel because of what I'm able to anchor into that part of the planet for healing. That allows me to receive abundance.
And not everyone has to understand that, because for a lot of people they would be like, what are you talking about? I couldn't. It doesn't even matter, as long as you know that and you're true to yourself in all those moments. Like for me, travel and those experiences is me collecting data. Like I collect information and go, oh, I really, really align with that part of their culture. Oh, I really, really love that. And I go, yes, please. Yes, please. Like you're going through the shopping aisles. More of that, please. I want to bring that home. And that's creation. That's what we're here for. Creation at its finest. We don't, just because we're Australians, we don't actually, guess what? If Australian culture doesn't align with you, you don't have to be live by Australian culture. If a little bit of that religion aligns, but not that in that one, but that one, you can take what you want and you can put it in your pot of ingredients and you get to create whatever you want. That's what I love about travel and experiences, is that we don't know what we don't know, right? But if we go out and are brave enough to break out of the normal, and we get to go and have conversations and connections that we never normally would. If we get to have a beautiful host at our villa that has a chef as a husband, that we get to ask questions and understand their culture, man, I took so much out of that 5-minute conversation. But like be brave enough, even if you're a shy person, to start those connections until you're no longer shy, because that's a possibility, right? If you see it in someone else and they're super confident, absolutely you can be too. It's just, are you willing to do what you need to do?
And or also, because I am quite a shy person or introvert, or What I've actually learnt about myself is being brave enough to actually be the person who's quiet in the room and just hold the space, because sometimes that's just as important as having the communication, because what's being done in the unseen is perfect because that's who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can collect data by just observing. And
that's right.
Literally, yeah. Sometimes we're the chatty ones that want to have the question. You can collect just as much data by asking questions or just observing. Yeah. But the point is that we get to, as long as we're brave enough to break out of the social conditioning, we get to experience new things, collect more information, even if that's just from your own connection with source. Is like, that's part of who we are too, right? We might see something, man, this is the story of my life. I see visions that are so far-fetched that I'm like, oh, how am I even going to, how is that even possible? But if I feel it and I trust it, mate, life just sifts and sorts. And that is the uttermost trust that, and I can say that I have fully embodied complete trust in myself now that I'm like fully embodied in who I am. So I know that it could be messy between now and that crazy ass vision, but I'm going to get there and it's going to be epic for everyone. So yeah.
Well, it's the body's way of clearing the path so that when it lands, it's, if not exactly that, but even better than you could have possibly imagined.
And it can be an abundant journey.
Yep.
It's not just about that destination. So what my experience has been in the past, and it's an old story, I'm not actually entertaining that anymore, is that, okay, this is going to be epic, but it could get messy on the way. I'm actually leaving that behind. It has been my experience. But since Bali, actually it doesn't have to be messy along the way. There's where I'm going, and I'm going to keep my bobbing up here. Instead of in the past, it's gone really freaking and sometimes long and deep. But that's only because I've been resisting it or not trusting it or taking on, more to the point, taking on so many other people's responsibility, their emotions and all the things which weren't mine to carry, right? So literally I'm going to bob my way to those crazy ass visions continuously, because that's creativity and that's abundance. And this is what this whole podcast is about. It's abundance.
That's right. And I think when we are being who we are here to be, then it does get to be a smoother journey. When we go off that path and out of alignment because of whatever those things are, we bob deeper. Yeah. So if we just stay like this and go, oh, there's something here, feel it, move on, feel it, move on, it can be so much smoother. And like, I'm going to put it out there. I do think the potential is actually we can just anchor that in, continue to be ourselves and receive. October has been, I have not been great at receiving almost my whole life. And October has showed me levels of receiving that I didn't even know possible.
Mate, like honestly, to witness you over how many years now of your birthday being such a sticky thing that you did not ever look forward to, right? It was sticky. There was tears many, many years. I've observed this over the years. To have your birthday go from that to like, I was laughing because I'm like, oh, we're singing to Katrina again. Because the restaurants would just bring out all these beautiful, abundant gifts and cakes and all of these things. Like, I'm like, you're going to turn like 50 by the time, if we added up all the different times we sung
cakes
to you.
I get.
Literally, it was the most pure love receiving. And that is what is possible when you keep coming back and tuning into what you deserve and what you want, and what mainly, like, too, what you gift others. Like, you are such a giver, and there was just your own little blocks that were in the way of you really knowing that you received that back. But I can say your blocks are
that you have gone.
Thank you. I love it when you turn 40. It's been really fun.
Well, look, everyone knows on here that I've had wobbles with coming up to my 40th birthday, and now I'm like, this is what 40 looks like. Like, I'm so excited.
Bring on 50.
I'm like, whoa, the channel is open for receiving. And it's an exciting place to be, because people can try to give to you, but if you're not open to receiving, if you don't love and value yourself enough, and I think that was a big piece that I worked on in the lead up to my 40th, of like really going, like, I love all of me unconditionally. It allowed others to come in and love me unconditionally, which, boom, receiving. Yeah.
Abundance. I'm pretty sure that we are excitedly learning more and more as we go. Like,
Yeah.
I think we've got to experience in Bali now, we get to experience it in Australia in our day to day.
Yeah.
Are we there yet? Absolutely not. But excited to have everyone join us in this. Like, let's chat about it. Let's talk. Let's talk to your friends about,
Make it the new normal.
Yes, celebrate other people when they're doing something out of the norm, or when they've booked themselves a massage, or when they're doing even the tiniest things that they wouldn't normally do that feel like a stretch. Like, we're taking you to we're taking you really high now, but we didn't start there. We started with, okay, I'm really stressed. I'm going to take an hour away from my kids. For like, that could bring up a lot of stuff for people. Just even asking for that deservability of an hour away or 15 minutes away. Like, this is where we both started, of like, my kids were attached to me for that many years. Like, so to think about going for 10 days at Bali, man, like, that's the magnitude of where I've come from to where I am now.
Yeah.
So this is, for everyone, you're going to come in on different entry levels here. But I guess the message or the encouragement is reach for the stars and then take little steps as you feel comfortable in doing so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see in my younger years how it's been a lead up. Like, I don't think that we ever land anywhere we're not meant to land. Something that I was fully aware of from like 14 onwards, because I left home at the age of 14, and in leaving home, I had all the responsibilities. So I had to buy my own shoes, my uniform, my textbooks. I had to pay my own school fees. Nobody was like, oh, she's 14, I'll give her a hand. And so responsibility in having to pay for things myself hit me at quite a young age. But there has always been, and I know it's a big part of my path in this life, and that's why I want to talk about abundance, is there's always been a knowing that I'm always going to be provided for. I didn't know how that was going to happen each week or each fortnight.
That's where people struggle.
Yeah, and so, like, being later on in life now and having, like, my own business, I have my own business, Ceremonial Cacao, and I also have investments that I invest into, and my husband has his own business and we have a beautiful house, but nothing has changed from when I was 14 to what I am now. The only thing that has changed is how much I'm willing to actually receive for being who I am. But at 14, I was in what people would like call struggle. And like, I would have my aunties say to me, how do you have money for everything? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just always there. Like, it's been a part of who I am. I must have worked on it in other lifetimes for so long. And it's taken me my lifetime up until 40 to get language around what that knowing is, so that I can share it with people, because I do believe, and I think if you don't have anything more to say, like, I think we're ending on this, abundance is our birthright.
Yeah. 100%.
And we are all, every single soul on this planet is deserving of abundance in all areas. And I am so passionate about sharing what I do know about it, and I'm still learning so much more and getting clearer on what that is, so that I can help share the wisdom, or at least, and probably most importantly, be the example of someone that's walking it, and it doesn't look like it's attached to I am this because of that.
Yeah.
Because what I actually know to be true is that money is going to find its way to us, and you just need a vessel or something for it to come through. A creation for it to come through, to funnel through. And I don't have to look like a CEO of a business to be financially successful, because I know being myself is enough for that magnet to be pulling in abundance into my life, and I don't need to prove how that's coming to me.
I mean, I have the exact same story as well, of when like when I was young, I was on apprenticeship wage, mate. I think I could find my payslip, which was like $175 a week or something on apprenticeship wage. I rented, like I was out on my own. I rented, I had all the bills. I still partied bloody hard. It may have been on Passion Pop, but I still partied really hard at that age. And like I had savings as well. And I'm like, I was on the bare minimum wage, but everything that was important to me was taken care of. It always paid my bills first. I'd have that time to be fun and be young with my friends as well. Like everything was always, if something happened with my car, I would just have someone either, that was the power of connections too, someone would either know how to fix it, or because it doesn't just have to be financial abundance, but I just had everything taken care of because I was being true to who I was. And that's the same as now. Like when people stress about money, and I have definitely been one to stress about money, but what I realize now is it never mine. It was never my belief system, because when I'm actually on my own doing it, I thrive. I have savings. I have all the things that are important to me. It's just when you get in the ick of other people's conditioning sometimes that you get a little bit wobbly. But staying true to our alignment, I think, is the biggest thing. Surrendering in the moments, and then
aligning with your values as well.
Aligning with your values and what you want. If you have a heart's desire, just say yes and let the rest unfold. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well,
amazing.
Thank you for joining us.
Abundant conversation.
Yeah. I actually feel like there will be many conversations that may have a thread of this, because I know it's a part of who I am and what I'm here to share. So this probably won't be the last thing that we ever talk about abundance, but I hope that you have fully received everything that we've been able to offer you today. And I look forward to...
And maybe book yourself a holiday.
Yeah, book yourself a holiday. Yeah. Do it. You deserve it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us in another episode of Mandorla. We want to acknowledge your contribution in the co-creation of our new evolved world.
Sending you all so much love, and until next time, remember, you are the creator.